Today's podcast is brought to you by Kentucky Farm Bureau Insurance. If your property gets damaged by a storm, it's nice to know there's a Kentucky Farm Bureau insurance agent in your hometown who's committed to making things right. Rain or shine, you can count on the great coverage and personal service you expect from Kentucky's insurance company. To request a free quote, find your local KFB insurance agent at mykfbagent.com. Kentucky Farm Bureau, big on commitment. Hey, Matt, how's it going?
There's days, I love doing this with you. We have a lot of fun. We get to meet a lot of great people, but there's days that just are better. They're just better because Tim's here.
Timmy!
Hey! Tim's here.
They unlocked the door and let me in.
He was just standing there kind of whimpering like a little puppy, so we thought,
We got these little windows, and sometimes he's just right there.
I put my nose against the window.
Please let me come in. So, yeah, we get to hang out with little Tim. How you doing, Tim?
I'm good. And you guys?
Same old stuff. We're doing this. You have a great story we're going to talk about here in a second, but I think you had something you wanted to bring up today.
Okay, so I know you guys are, on the TikTok and the Instagram and the Facebook Reels, Okay, so there's this trend.
Yes,
and they play a really cool Goo Goo Dolls song. I think it's Iris.
Who? Are they a bluegrass band?
No. And it's a lot of celebrities doing it, but they're like, "Hey, Mom, what were you doing in the 90s?" Or, "Hey, Dad, what were you doing in the 90s?" And then they're like, whatever. This person shows you all of their Saved by the Bell pictures from when they were that age in the 90s. Okay?
I think it's just like trying to show off your mom was stunning when she was
literally
younger,
think it's like, hey, kids, don't forget I was hot. But that's not the point. That's not what we're doing with it, okay? So we are not vain.
Cool, yeah.
We're not vain. What we're going to do, because we have, we're kind of in 3 different generations, in case anyone's never seen us before. What we're going to do is we're going to decide.
Tim over here laughing like, ouch.
What were we doing in the 90s?
All right, who wants to go first? Tim, you go first.
In the 90s. At the beginning of the 90s, I had gone back to school.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I was a non-traditional college student.
There you go.
That was interesting because I was not quite a generation ahead of the people that were in there with me, but it was a distinct difference between an 18-year-old and a 30-year-old.
Were they mean to you?
And no, they weren't mean to me, but they were not as dedicated because Mom and Dad were paying their tuition and mine was coming out of my pocket. So, So I was, I was beginning a career, sort of a part-time career in writing. Actually, I was covering sports in those days. So did a lot of photography work. Just seemed like I was always working through the 90s, but gained a lot of ground, learned a lot of things, and had a lot of great mentors throughout that decade. Shout out to Paula Hill. I don't know whether she is with us now. I hope she is. She was an English professor that I've said the words to her once. I don't really care about writing. I just want to be a photographer in what I do. And she said, you will be more marketable if you do both. And she said I was a good writer. And she set me on the career path of which where I am today.
Shout out Paula Hill.
I love you, Paula. She went to Duquesne University. I never heard from her again. So hopefully she's retired.
Inspiring others.
And
join life.
Paula, if you hear this and you're still out there, thank you.
Yeah. All right, so the 90s. So I am 100% a 90s kid.
Ooh.
So when I think why this is cool now is because my kids are looking at the 90s and saying that seemed pretty good because there wasn't cell phones, there wasn't social media, there was just music and hanging out, and it was simple. And I think kids are kind of starving for that a little bit. So there's a little bit of just having some fun with it, but also I think there's a little that my son's suddenly listening to music from the 90s. He thinks he's found it for the first time. And I'm like, yeah, man. Yeah.
Heard that before.
So 90s. Yeah, I'm a 1980 born kid. So 90 to 2000. That was 10 years old to 20 years old.
Oh, that's prime Hilton time.
That's what became a person. in the 90s, right? So
The 90s made you.
yeah, so whatever this is today, you can blame the 90s. It's mostly how you see that. So I was, 10. I was in, middle school age all the way through high school and parts of college during those years. So very important young person years. And from the music to the bad haircuts to all the things, those were my awkward years and all those years that everybody I think has. But I love the 90s. I still love the music of the time. And so
What's the best 90s apparel that could be found in a picture somewhere in the depths of your mom's basement?
oh man, so I don't know if people remember Kurt Cobain. Okay, so Kurt Cobain
he's
was
pretty memorable.
So in Louisville, every kid in the city of Louisville had the like butt cut, pull the hair behind the ears just to your like shoulders length hair. And I really wanted this, but my parents wouldn't let me. Okay, but all my friends did it, so we all looked exactly the same, just as all boys are. They all just this is all what my friends wear. And they all look exactly the same, you know? So that's what I was trying to do. But I had like a really bad, like bowl cut kind of thing going. And wore hoodies a lot. And I was trying to be I had a skateboard, but I was really bad at it. You know what I mean? I just fell down a lot. Oh, very good. So that was my 90s experience. And then obviously into college.
That would explain a lot.
Yes, that explains.
Scare boy Matt.
Hit my head a lot too.
I should mention my beautiful wife. We got married in the 90s.
There you go.
Yeah.
That was a good.
She's put up with me all these years.
Somebody would have thought you would have started with that.
Yeah.
Give a shout out to a professor before your wife.
Well, the professor came before my wife, but yes, I wanted
feel
to
like
throw
you
that
brought
in.
this up for a reason.
Okay, so you want to know what I did in the 90s? I was born in 94.
Oh.
So I learned how to walk.
Thank you.
I learned how to talk.
There we go.
So that was exciting.
That was important.
I really don't remember much of the 90s. More of a, a Y2K kid, you know? Yeah, it was.
This is why she wanted to.
I really wanted to.
Born then.
I did want to do this. The 90s are cool. I will say this. I grew up on 90s country because early 2000s, I mean, like some of that kind of fleshes into it, but early like 90s country is kind of what I was raised on. Yeah. And so, but I'm tail into the millennials. So, but I really just made this whole topic so you guys could feel old.
you did it, I think.
You guys, what you missed were the 70s.
Yeah.
Bell bottoms, platform shoes.
Oh, yeah.
Long
See,
hair.
like that was cool when I was a kid. The 70s were cool, and now my kids think the 90s are cool. I think you just kind of think what your parents did. You kind of look at it and go,
but don't say it's because of your parents.
You don't want to say it's cool, but you're like, yeah, that's kind of. It looked like it was kind of fun, actually. So.
All right, so we should probably transition to our cool guest today.
Yeah, we have a cool guest, Tim. Who you got? Who you got on the podcast?
I had the honor to speak with the chair of the United Soybean Board, Kentucky producer, Brent Gatton.
Very cool.
And he lives in Muhlenberg County. As a matter of fact, and I sort of forgot about this, but last spring, late spring, I was in Muhlenberg County doing a few photos, and I was on his farm. He was working hard, working really hard now on behalf of the Soybean Board, which takes care of the Checkoff program for producers. And when I was talking to him, he was telling me things that the Checkoff program had done, and I said, I didn't know they were used for that.
Yeah.
Soybean oil is used in Skechers shoes. Look at my shoes.
You have
Look, I'm holding my.
You got your Skechers on.
I think Brent said, and I'm probably going to get this wrong, soy touches every life.
Yeah.
He's right.
Right.
How cool is that?
Very cool. Very cool.
Anyway, very busy. It's a busy time, but these guys, it's amazing the number of Kentucky producers who have served at that national level. Really speaks well for our folks and our industry here, I think.
Very cool. Yeah, I think the listeners will love this, and I'd say we just get right to it here.
All right.
I'm Renee Carrico.
I'm Matt Hilton.
I'm Tim Thornberry.
Let's get rural.
listen, thank you so much for joining me today. I know it's a busy time for you guys, but I want to start out. There may be somebody out there that may not know who you are, what you do, and a little bit about the soybean board. So I'll just say I'll let you get started and introduce yourself.
All right. Well, I'm Brent Gatton from Muhlenberg County, a little town called Bremen, Kentucky. I'm a fifth-generation farmer where I raise soybeans and corn, and I serve currently as the 2026 chairman of the United Soybean Board.
And, some folks may, that is the folks that do the marketing, do the Checkoff program and things like that for soybean producers. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. We take the Checkoff, which is half of 1%. Half of that will stay with your state promotion board. The other half goes to the national board. And so what we do, we invest Checkoff dollars for research, education, and promotion.
And, Brent, having been familiar with other Checkoff programs, those things are so valuable to producers. Talk to me a little bit about the importance of that and certainly how that sector has grown, say, over the last 20 years.
It is amazing. Actually, the United Soybean Board is celebrating its 35th anniversary this year. And what's amazing about the Checkoff, we had an individual, Dr. Kaiser from Cornell University, at a meeting a couple years ago at our summer meeting in Baltimore, Maryland. And he talked about the importance of Checkoffs and the value of Checkoffs. And he said, how Checkoffs come about is that farmers seem to invest their own dollars to promote their own product. And it truly is a testament. Whenever we were at Classic this year, what we do as an executive committee, I've been on the executive committee. This is my 4th year. I'm serving on year 8. You can do 3-year terms on the United Soybean Board, and you're appointed by the Secretary of Agriculture. I'm currently starting my 8th year, and as chair, we get to interact a lot of times with the past chairs. We invited the past, whoever wanted to attend over the last 35 years to Commodity Classic this year. We work the booth. We have a past chair forum. Just talk about the things, the challenges and struggles that they had. Mr. Sandy Luderman was from Minnesota, was the first chair in 1991. And talk about how much it's evolved. In 91, you had a budget of around $17 to $18 million. And in the United States, we produced about 2 billion bushels. Jump forward to 2026, we have a budget of around $120 to $123 million, and we're producing 4 billion bushels. So then you think about, wow, we've doubled production. As we all know, we're losing acres every day, but I think the Checkoff has been so instrumental in being able to make sure that we have partners across the world as far as other USEC and WISH and USMEF. Those are organizations that advocate on our behalf to differentiate our product from our South American competitors and other competitors around the world. So it's amazing what the Checkoff and the value that it's brought back to the farmer. We do a return on investment study every 5 years, and the most recent study was conducted last year. And for every dollar that the Checkoff that a farmer has paid into the Checkoff, it's been a $12.30 return back to the farmer. So it's been a great value. I truly believe in it. I think we're doing a lot of great work. We have a great team of staff there. Our office is located in Chesterfield, Missouri, and it's just been a privilege and just a great honor to be able to serve not only through Kentucky. I'm appointed. I'm kind of appointed through Kentucky to have an application process to get to serve on this board. So I can't thank the farmers that have entrusted me, and I've got to serve with some of the greatest individuals that our state has, and it's just truly been a humbling experience.
Speaking about that, Brent, we've got a lot of people that a lot of our farmers have served at this level. It really speaks well to the quality of farm folks that we have here and the job they're doing. Don't you think that's true? I'm sure you do, but it really does.
100%. I'm going to tell you, and you'll know this individual I'm fixing to talk about is Mr. Keith Tapp from Seabury, Kentucky.
I know Keith.
Keith is the reason I'm involved. I'll never forget it. We were at Ward Implement one day. I was getting parts, and Keith was getting parts, and there was an opening in Kentucky's association. That'll be your grassroots, your membership-driven side of the organization. Because in Kentucky, we have two different ones. We have an association that can do lobbying activities, then we have the promotion that invests Checkoff. and there was an opening in the Penny Route region. And so Keith has been very instrumental of being my mentor. I can't thank him enough because it's been truly, it's been a kind of a surreal moment. When I came onto the board, Keith was chair in 19. And then now Keith is serving a spot for an individual that couldn't fulfill their role because they got elected, and it was Mr. Ryan Bivens. And when Ryan got elected, Ryan is one of my best friends, and when he got miss Ryan dearly. We're all super close, and when Ryan got elected as a representative, Ryan had to step off of USB, and so we begged Keith to come back. So Keith is serving Ryan's last year this year, and with me being the chair. So every step of my service that I've done through Kentucky, through USB, I followed in Keith's footsteps. We've served in the same offices and everything of that nature. So Keith is just a dear friend and someone I look up to and just admire tremendously. And so he is the reason that I am involved in doing what I'm doing. And the main reason. Can't thank Keith enough, but when you talk about why you do it, honestly, my wife, she's an elementary school principal in McLean County there at Calhoun, and she's a principal there. And I have 3 sons. My oldest one's Wyatt. He's a senior. My twins are Will and Reed that are sophomores. And that's the other reason I'm involved, because I want to pay it. I feel like you're serving the greater good. You're doing something that sets you up to be successful as a 5th or 6th generation farmer. And I want to make sure that I'm doing that for my kids. And I want to show them that it's important to volunteer and to give back because it's very instrumental to the ag industry, And Keith showed me that. Keith showed me the pathway the reasoning behind why we do what we do, and I can't thank him enough. And it's just been a great journey. Right now that I serve with Barry Alexander from Katie's and Keith from Seabury and myself are the 3 representatives on the United Soybean Board.
It's got to make you feel good to have those Kentucky guys there serving at this level and knowing all the great things they do. It speaks not only well for them, but it speaks well for Kentucky agriculture, don't you think?
Oh, 100%. We have got a great team. Miss Debbie Ellis is our executive director. Debbie's fixing to celebrate 40 years. Mm-hmm. Ray Wagner, our communication director, and Becky Kinder, our education director. And those ladies have just been outstanding for us. And, the thing about Kentucky agriculture, there's a lot of young leader programs. And I'm so excited and proud to have been through some of those with Kentucky Farm Bureau, went through Kentucky Leadership Agricultural Program to the University of Kentucky, just different programs that you learn. The more you get involved, the more you learn of what's out there. And every time you get involved, you learn about something else, and it just leads to a different pathway. It's like one connection and network leads to something else, and it's just amazing. It's amazing the support system that I've had in the state of being able to do what we're doing, the friendships, the connect. That's why you do it. I will say on the national level, Kentucky has a reputation to having something special. We have great farmer leaders. We have a great team of staff back here at home that support us and want to make sure that it's farmer-led, farmer-driven decisions and things of that nature. And I couldn't be prouder, honestly. It is just something neat. I can't, we had a state dinner at Commodity Classic a week or so ago in San Antonio, Texas, and I had an opportunity to talk to our state as well as Barry and some of the others that have been in leadership for several years and Keith and just talked about, looking at those younger guys saying, hey, you've got something to really build upon, harness it, take it in, because getting involved, I promise you'll get more out of it than you ever put into it. And it truly has changed my life, honestly.
And Brent, we've talked a whole lot about farmland transition over the last couple of years and how important it is to help make a pathway for a new generation. And you're obviously seeing that. You and I talked earlier about, I mentioned a young man, Jonathan Reynolds, from down in Hickman County. How important is it that we foster this new generation, to have them come on and learn, not only to be good farmers, but to be good advocates?
Oh, it's tremendously. Jonathan is a great young man. I'm extremely proud of Jonathan. Serves as our association president and as our treasurer secretary on our promotion board. I'm hoping Jonathan, we've got a spot coming up on USB, and I'm hoping Jonathan's going to take that role, and he's going to do outstanding things. And And it's very important for us to identify individuals and support individuals like Jonathan and his family to be involved, because it is a lot of time, away from the farm, and trying to attend meetings and make decisions that are the best decisions on behalf of not only Kentucky farmers, but the American farmers that pay into the checkoff. And so Jonathan, I tell you, he's a sharp young man. I tell you, there's sky's the limit for him. I'm extremely proud of him. A great speaker, very knowledgeable individual, and I think I think we're truly blessed in our state to have individuals like Jonathan. And I think it's our responsibility to make sure we advocate and get these individuals to get more involved. So I hope I'm doing what. I hope I can accomplish what Keith accomplished with some of us, and I hope we're paying it forward and making sure that we're getting these younger guys involved.
Well, from everything I hear, Brent, you sure are. You're on the right path, that's for sure. Always good to hear what folks have to say out there. And I want to switch gears here a little bit. Talk to me, first off, a little bit about some of the accomplishments the board has made over the years, and then we're going to talk a little bit about where we are right now.
Yep. Well, some of the accomplishments, whenever you think about the United Soybean Board and what we've done as far as the financials, last year, just to put things into perspective of how, even with the farm economy and things of that nature, last year we had I'm going to say in fiscal year 25 to fiscal year 26, we had a deduction of about $40 to $46 million in collections or budgeting things that we could actually invest in. So when you were looking at going from, say, for an example, this year, we invested $75 million into portfolio advancement. So we have 77 farmers that serve on the United Soybean Board across the United States, representing 500,000 soybean growers. These farmers serve on different committees, and these committees have different target areas, for an example. And so when we got together and we were talking about, and this is a meeting that's going to take place Monday for FY27. So our fiscal year goes from October 1 to 9/30. So right now, we're several months into 26, actually, of what our investments are. Mm-hmm. And what the Checkoff's been able to do, it's been able to expand exports tremendously. That was one of the things that we did last year as well. We spent probably 38% of our budget on exports because we want to make sure we keep those ties and those relationships around the world. By the Checkoff, we've been able to grow in 90-plus export markets throughout the world. The top 5 markets for U.S. soy would actually be China, Mexico, the European Union, Egypt. I just returned back from a mission trip in Egypt, and the Philippines. Then when you think of domestic use, of course, the animal industry is our number one consumer, with poultry leading that. 97% of meal goes to the animal industry. Mm-hmm. But one of the other neat aspects of meal and things of that nature is the new product of soy foam. That's something that come about through the Checkoff investments to invent something that was those PFAS chemicals that are harmful to the firefighters and to the environment. This is a product that is bio-based product that's safe for the environment, and it's going to consume about 12 million bushels. Then you think of all the other products. I think Skechers shoes, goodness gracious, they've incorporated the soybean oil into over 171 different varieties of shoes that they produce. Goodyear tires, Sinlon artificial turf. There's thousands of bio-based products out there now that have come about from the Checkoff. And some that we always say soy touches every life every day, and it truly does. Like if you go into Home Depot or stores like that, there's the lubricants like in DeWalt bar and chain oil, mm-hmm. That's actually has soybean oil, so it's amazing the different things that are actually out there, and some of our work groups will be like sustainable production, industrial uses, feed, fuel, exports, so we've got 6 different groups that these farmers serve. There's 10 or 12 farmers that serve on each of these groups, and they try to make the best investments possible to get the best return on investment for the individuals that pay into this Checkoff.
Brent, you're educating me here, and that spurs a question. Do you find that a lot of what you do has, more people than not are removed from the farm now? Do you find that education is a big part of what you guys do? Getting the public. I got Skechers on, so do you think it's a lot of what you guys do?
It is. We actually have a communication education committee, and this committee, that's what they're tasked with. Their budget changes, sporadically out throughout the year, and we're trying to evaluate what can we do to get the messaging out. Granted, you got to preach to the choir at times because a lot of farmers don't understand what all their products are going into. They don't understand what the Checkoff does on their behalf. But we also want to make sure we're reaching our consumers. We want those to understand the value of what American soy brings to their family. So we are definitely aware of that. We try to get that communication out, and I tell you, this committee's been evolving for the last few years. We're probably in year 4 or 5, probably year 4, I think, of our new strategic plan. And it's amazing where this committee keeps going and where they keep taking things and trying to get that educational resources out to the public.
And go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, and I was going to say, and if people were interested, UnitedSoybean.org, that's where a lot of farmers and consumers can go to our website to look at some of the success stories, the milestones that we've been able to create, and some of the products that have come about because of the Checkoff. So I would definitely highly encourage individuals to log onto our website there and do a little bit more research.
I was in Washington last week as we're recording this into March, and one of the speakers that we had at our meeting was USDA Deputy Secretary Stephen Vaden. And we were talking about exports. We were talking a little bit about where we are with our ag exports, and the topic of Brazil came up. And, one thing that he said, and I think for people like me, we know this, he said, he said, I'm going to use soy, for instance. The American soybean is far superior. He said it's the best in the world. And, just really had lots of good things to say about the products we raise here. And we really do. I don't think a lot of people realize that, especially as we talk about an ag trade deficit. The products that we grow here in this country, it's not just because it's us. They really are the best in the world and the most productive farmers in the world, don't you think?
Yes, I do. It's when you talk about it's amazing. I have never personally been to Brazil in those areas, but a lot of farmers that I know that have been there through different groups or what have you, it's the quality difference. When I've been over in Europe and things of that nature, they blend our beans with some South America beans because we have superior quality. At the end of the day, it does come down to price. But, one of the big things that we like to push is that USB and other organizations that we fund or that we support around the world, they're in the business of relationships. And truly, relationships matter. Whenever you get to meet with an end user or a purchaser of our products, when I was in Egypt 3 weeks ago, I guess it was now, those individuals, we were there for them in a time of need when they were looking to purchase things. And relationships were extremely huge to those individuals, just as they are to the American farmers. And they love being able to hear that generational story. They love to be able to put a face with a product. They want to hear your farming practices, your sustainable practices, how we produce. Us being here in Kentucky, we farm totally different than some of my good friends in Minnesota and North Dakota and things of that nature. But even where I'm located at, I farm differently than some east of here that are in my own state. So we want to make sure we get that messaging out of how we're producing more with less inputs, less seed, less fertilizer, all those type of things, because, cost of production is going through the roof right now. And we're doing the best we can on the Checkoff to help make sure that things have come about as far as variety trials, new seed genetics, new crop production tools, things of that nature. That's what the Checkoff is always doing, because at the end of the day, we do a great job, I think, as American producing this world's safest food supply. But we probably don't do the best job in the world marketing because we're here at the farm. That's what's great for programs like this, because we at any point in time around the world or domestically, we have thousands of people working on behalf of us trying to get our product into either new uses, new markets, and things of that nature. So that to me is what was truly eye-opening when I first got involved. I think I first got involved in Kentucky. I was probably, back in 2014, maybe something of that nature. So.
Well, I hear that a lot as far as creating new markets. That was one of the things that we talked about in Washington last week. And, the term that kept coming up from a lot of people are biofuels. That's getting a lot of airplay now. What's your take on where we are with that?
Well, on the biofuels portion of it, U.S. soybean oil, we want to make sure they are the preferred feedstock in replacing petroleum. We're expanding the biofuel footprint in biodiesel, renewable diesel, bioheat, marine, and rail markets. When you think about it, the reason biofuels come about was because of the Checkoff investing into that segment. So I think it's amazing to see what could come about through the biofuels markets. I think, I still think we have a lot of untapped potential there to be able to help promote our product through that avenue. And
not to talk about policy or politics by any means, Brent, but we're at a position, and this is really a question. Do you think we're at a position with all the things that are going on? We're seeing oil prices go way up. We're seeing gasoline prices go up. Do you think this has created an opportunity? And again, I don't want to make light of the situation, but an opportunity to increase those conversations about biofuel and energy like that, and what an opportunity that we have to move that a little bit further down the line.
Yeah, possibly. I think there's definitely an opportunity, there. And that, and this is what's great for individuals don't understand when you're talking about lobbying activities and things of that nature. I know y'all were in D.C. here a couple weeks ago with a congressional tour. We have our other arm of the soybean world, which is ASA, American Soybean Association. And so, in partner with them, that organization handles all that type of, discussions and things of that nature when it comes to policy, how to get into those markets and things like that, because with the Checkoff, we can't talk or advocate or do anything like that with any type of lobbying activity. So that's what's great about ASA. It's a grassroots organization, a membership-driven group of individuals, and some of my best friends serve on that as well. Mr. Fred Sipes from Meade County. I talk to Fred all the time, and Fred and Jeff King and Caleb Ragland are our ASA representatives on there. And so proud of the work that those guys do to help us. We try to do the investments and try to get these new uses coming about and the research and things of that nature. But then it those guys help push it through the policy area.
And that's so important right now, that advocacy component. And networking. I know you know a lot about Farm Bureau, Brent. So
yes, sir.
Those relationships, whether it be with ASA and your board or different commodity groups, organizations like Farm Bureau at all levels, those are really critical to the end game, what we see in the future. Is that a fair way to put it?
Yes, it is. I tell you, I'm a huge advocate of young leader programs. Without young leader programs, I would have never had the opportunity to serve and do the things that I've been so fortunate to do and meet the individuals that I met. My closest friends in the world have came about from young leader programs and my involvement in these commodity groups. I think it's a huge responsibility upon all of us that serve in some sort of capacity to make sure that we keep programs like that viable and going. I think it's great the work that Farm Bureau does, trying to have all the young leader contests and programs and things of that nature. It truly is important to American agriculture because you're right. We are, you're looking at a generation removed from the farm. But there's so much more to agriculture than just planting a crop and harvesting a crop or raising livestock or things of that nature. There's so many job opportunities and things like that I hope kids understand that the opportunities that are truly out there in agriculture. And I'm just thankful that we have these programs. I think it truly is a necessity. And I just hope that, I was one of the ones that was on a committee that we have a See for Yourself program. And what we do through this program is that we have applicants and we work with the states in partnership to identify potential young leaders to serve either. Here's the thing. I don't care where they serve at. I just want them to get involved, in whether it's locally, state, or nationally at some point in time. And I always tell them this program here helps identify future leaders within their state, and then we take them to either a domestic or an international experience, and it's a mission trip to show them what their Checkoff's doing on their behalf. And I can tell you, it's a huge success. It was around before 18. It kind of fell off a little bit. Then COVID hit, and then when I was audit and evaluation chair, we brought this program back through that committee on USB. And it's been a success. We actually now, out of just having it for the last few years, we've actually got a couple of people that went through the program that are back up, that are now serving on USB. So those programs like that are so instrumental if we want to make sure that we keep the ag community involved, up to date, and getting the right people in the right positions. You know, we want people that have skin in the game, that know what it's like to be a farmer, to make the decisions on behalf of the farmers, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Brent, one other question. You know, it's easy. It's easy to sort of get down sometimes when you look at input cost and you look at prices and volatility in the markets and a lot of other things. But I hear excitement in your voice. And first off, I guess, is it an exciting time to be where you are doing what you're doing? And what do you tell other farmers that, you know, maybe say, how am I going to make money this year? What's the future look like? And I'll let you have the last word there.
Well, you know, when you say the word exciting, you know, you could define that in multiple different ways. You know, granted, agriculture right now is not exciting. It's a challenging time. It's troubling times, you know, when you look at the farm economy and what commodity prices are doing and what the cost of inputs are. But what I'm excited about is being a fifth-generation farmer, raising my kids on this farm. My wife and I take great pride in that. But the thing that I'm most excited about, and the things that really keep you locked in day in through the struggles, whether it's your weather events or financials or, you know, whatever it is on the farm, it's the networks that I've been so fortunate to build upon and communicate with, because we're all going through the same thing. You know, literally another individual, one of my closest friends, is Jonathan Miller in Island, Kentucky. And I've got pictures of Jonathan this summer teaching my kid how to weld and fabricate on a mulch finisher that we broke last spring. And that's the reason you get involved. That's the reason that there's light at the end of the tunnel. It's a struggle right now, but honestly, farming's always been up and down. But being involved with individuals and having that network and those friendships, you can't put a price tag on that for me personally. So that's what makes me excited. At the end of the day, I'm a fortunate individual because I have those friends all around the state and all around the United States. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And I hear that from a lot of people. It's about tradition. It's about carrying on a tradition they've been a part of and in the future. It's certainly one other comment from me, Brent. We always say food security, agriculture security is national security. You cannot underestimate or understate the value, or I guess I should use the word, you can't overstate the value of the American farmer and what they're doing and how important they are to this society.
Yes. Yep. I agree 100%. Yes, sir.
Brent Gatton, thank you so much for being on the podcast today and being part of the magazine. We really appreciate the time. I know you're very busy right now, and we appreciate that.
Well, it's an honor and it's a privilege to be on here. Thank you for having me.